Hey there, thanks for stopping by my channel to color. If you're new here, you might consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the little bell next to it so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. Today we're going to be using our Copic markers and we're going to be coloring this adorable Stampin' Bella image called Garden Girl Rose. Isn't she super cute? I'll go ahead and put a list of all the supplies I used down in the description box in case you would like to pick something up. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and do our skin first. For that we'll use E11, E01, E00, and R20 for our cheeks. I always color dark to light, so I'm starting with E11 first. I'm going in and adding all the shadows, and then I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the rest of her hands with E01. Same for her shoulders and her neck up here. I'll start with the darkest, which is E11, and I'm adding that wherever I want the shadows to be, and then I'm adding a little bit more of E01, leaving a tiny dab for my E00 to finish it off. I always use my last color to swipe over the entire colored area just to blend everything together. Here I'm adding my shadow of E11. I'm brushing over the top of that and adding a little bit more of E01 to my white, and then I'm going over that with E01, leaving a small dash of white in the center of her face. Here we're adding R20 to her cheeks, and I always start out at the outer edge and then blend a little bit into the center, and then I go over with my two lightest colors, and then in the end I'm going to add my R20 just to brighten those up a little bit. Then we're going to go ahead and do her hair. For that we'll use E39, E35, E33, and E31. Here there's a bunch of leaves in her hair, and to avoid coloring over those on accident, I just went ahead and filled it in with my E31 so I wouldn't have to worry about it. And then I'm using my E39 and I'm just going through and adding some little swirly squiggles to make her look like she has curly hair. And then I'll come and add E35 the same way. We're just going to add the little squiggles on there and swirl it around and make some different colors. We'll finish it off with some E33, and then I'm going to come in with my E39 and just add a few more little dark areas in there just to highlight it. So anyway, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Moving right along, we're going to go ahead and do leaves now. For leaves, we're going to use G28, YG17, and YG07. Nothing fancy here. We're just going to use our G28 to add a couple little slashes on the leaves, fill the bottom of the stem of our flower in, and then go up here and do the little flowers or the little leaves in her hair. Then we'll go ahead and grab YG17. We'll do the same thing. I'm just adding a couple little slashes of color to fill it in, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab my YG07 and I'm going to swirl that over the entire leaf just to blend those all together and kind of smush the ink and soften up all those lines. Then I come back with G28 and I add the little dash line in the center of the leaf just to highlight it. Now we're going to do our shoes with W8, W6, and W4. We use W8 along the bottom of this shoe and the very sole, and then a couple little dashes on the sides of the back one. W6, a little bit more shading on there, and then we go over the entire thing with W4 and soften it with a couple of swipes of extra over the top. Now we're going to go ahead and do our stripes on our shirt and the socks. So for the first stripe, we're going to use C3 and C1. I'm just going along, I picked a stripe and I'm going to do every other one, and I'm going about a third of the way in on each stripe with my C3 just to fill those in a little bit. Same thing through the back leg. I'm just going a third of the way over on every alternate stripe, and then I'm going to do about, I'm leaving a little bit of white on the end, but I just went over the edge of that C3 just to add C1 on there, and then I'll leave the very edges white on there. Same for the top. I'm just swiping a little bit on there and leave white at the very edges. Next, we're going to do the alternate stripes. For that, we're going to use Y26. I'm just doing a quick slash on each side, and then we're going to go over that with our YR23. And I'm just using up a little bit more of my space, but remember to leave a little dash of white on the edges for your last color, which will be Y35. Same for the top. We're just going to fill that in. I didn't want to leave the white up here on the top because I thought that would look, I didn't like how it looked, so I'm just going ahead and filling the rest of her alternate stripes on her socks and the top in with my Y35 just to fill it in. Now we're going to do her flower and her dress. So for that, we're going to use G16, BG15, BG34, BG32, BG11, and then for a little bit of shadows on her rose dress, I'm going to use W4. I'll show you that here in just a little bit. So I went ahead and filled in my flower, and I'm coming back with my G16 and just adding a couple little dashes for shadows. Same for our skirt. You're just going to pick wherever you want the shadows to be, and I'm going to put those in the back of the petal and in front of the petal where it stops on another petal. So up here, it's got a little bit of a darker or a little V up there, so I went ahead and filled it in a little bit. And then because G16 was kind of green, I went over that with my BG15 to give it a little bit more of a blue cast so that it would match BG34. I'm in with BG34. Some of those leaves or those petals are pretty small, so I went ahead and filled them the rest of the way in. Otherwise, I left a little bit of white so we could go ahead and swipe our BG32 over the rest of those and fill all that extra area over. Except for that really big one there at the top, I'm going to go ahead and grab my BG11 and I'm going to just swipe over that a couple of times to soften it up. I'm going to do the same thing for the back parts of her dress. I try to flip around when I'm doing my coloring, so I'll do a couple of little areas, and then I don't want to do the whole thing at once because the ink, I don't think it blends as well for me. So for me, it works better if I do a couple of petals and then move on to another couple of petals and do each little color and then come back and start over. Those little petals there on the front look like they're flipped up, so we want to make sure to leave those for our lightest colors so they'll be nice and light and pretty. Coming in with my BG15, I'm going right over the top of that G16 and just adding a little bit more onto my line over the top of it. For the bigger petals, I went ahead and stretched that color out a little bit, so we're taking up a little bit more of our white space. We're going to go swipe over the top of that with our BG34. I went ahead and filled in that second little petals over there just because they're kind of buried behind everything that's underneath. And we're going to start our turned up flowers right here with a little bit of BG34. Go ahead and fill in a few more of these petals with BG32. On a few of them, I'm leaving the white edges because remember, we still have BG11 that we want to use on there. We're going to go ahead and fill in our white with BG11, and then after I get it all filled in, I like to swipe over the entire flower with the BG11 just to soften all the lines and blend all that ink together. Seems to work best for me. It may not work for you, but you might want to give it a try. Then I'm going to go through and add my G16 back into all those little shadow areas that I applied it on the first time. This will just help those shadows stand out and add a little bit of contrast on there. After I get my G16 all the way on there, I'm going to go ahead and take my W4 and I'm going to add it to the little areas where I feel that it needs to be even darker than it is now. Like the little creases where it looks like it's in the back, or if there's like a really heavy corner, I'm adding it on there. So I just added the W4 wherever I wanted there to be a really dark shadow, so make sure to use that sparingly. Here's the picture of the finished card. If you would like to see some more close-up photos or some details about this card, go ahead and head over to the store blog and I'll put a link to that down in the description box. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to hit the thumbs up button. That really helps my channel and I appreciate it. Right about now, you should be seeing a screen that shows you a couple more videos I thought you might be interested in. If you would like to see either of those, just click on the channel or on the screen and it will take you to one of those and you can check it out. Otherwise, I hope you're having a fabulous day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.